Let me introduce myself. My name is Mann Rentoy. I was fortunate enough to be this year's recipient of the first ever recipient of the Character.org's International Champion for Character. They gave recognition to 5 institutions or individuals championing character formation in the world, 4 of them based in the US, and I'm the only one based outside of the United States, and they gave me this recognition this year. It's because for the last 12 years, 13 years, I have been going around the Philippines, where I come from, and around the world, reaching out to fellow educators like you, trying to champion character formation. And this is the reason why we organize this series for this next 3 Saturdays. I have been, like you, a teacher. I've been inside the classroom for 33 years, teaching from grade 4 all the way to 4th-year college. And I graduated from the University of Santo Tomas in Manila, UST. I finished AB Journalism, AB Literature, MA in Creative Writing, and PhD in Literature. But the last 12 years, I saw the crisis in character. And so I've been devoting more of my time going around, telling parents, teachers, fellow teachers like you, and students, let us make character formation a top priority, because this is where the crisis is in society. Okay, now I was afraid that my English may not be very clear. I am Filipino and my English may not be similar to yours. If you are having a tough time understanding what I'm saying, please give me a secret signal, the half Wakanda forever. Put your hand like that so that I know I need either to speak slowly, or more clearly. Okay? So far, you understand me. Okay. Don't worry. After around 15 minutes, you will be so used to my accent. I think you will get 100% already by that time. So I graduated from UST. I started a school in the Philippines. It's an all-boys school called Westbridge School. It's now one of the top, most respected schools in Region 6 of the Philippines. It's somewhere in the middle of the 7,100 islands of the Philippines. And I went there in 1992 and started a school, and now it is still there. It's an all-boys school. I served as principal of intermediate school in my own alma mater. I graduated from Southridge, all-boys school, and later on I went back there to teach for 15 years, serving as principal of intermediate school, vice principal of high school, and religion department chair. So many of the things I'm going to share with the teachers next Saturday and the following after that are personal experiences I had inside the classroom for 15 years here, 3 years in Westbridge, 9 years in the University of Asia and the Pacific. But as I said, the last 12 years, I have been spending more time trying to champion character formation because there is a great need and urgency to do that. And in the process, I got to be involved in an international organization based in Washington, D.C., USA, called Character Education Partnership, CEP. And by some dint of miracle, they gave me the franchise for CEP, Philippines. And then, I also got to meet the grandfather of character formation in the world, Dr. Thomas Licona. He's considered as the grandfather of character education because of his landmark books, Educating for Character and Character Matters. And he gave me the franchise for the Dr. Thomas Licona Institute for Asia, or Center for the Fourth and Fifth Hours Asia. The international seminar certificate you will receive today bears the signature of Dr. Hernandez of ESI and Dr. Thomas Licona. So I am the only accredited speaker of Center for the Fourth and Fifth Hours for the whole of Asia. And so all seminars I give bear the signature of Dr. Licona. Now, some of you are wondering, what are the fourth and fifth R's? Our principle is every human being, aside from knowing reading, writing, arithmetic, should have respect and responsibility. Respect and responsibility, two virtues that are in crisis among the young people. They are not as respectful anymore. They are not as responsible anymore. Do you agree? Or are the Sri Lankan young people angelic and saintly and very good people? No, they're normal human beings. Okay, so that's our principle. We need to champion respect and responsibility if we are going to see these young people grow up to be good. And so, I welcome you to our session today. Sorry, I'm moving forward. The professional teachers, agents of character formation. I'm going to share with you my principles of why I do what I do. Sometimes, when it's parents I'm addressing, I need to give this as the title, Raising Children of Character in a Wired World. One day I was invited to speak in a big hall with hundreds of participants, and I was introduced, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Rentoy to talk about raising children of character in a weird world. Which is true. This world we live in right now is kind of weird. Young people taking a picture of their hamburger or pizza pie before they eat it. I mean, did you ever do that when you were younger? You take a picture of your food and let the world know, I am in coffee bean and tea leaf. I am in, that's the kind of world we're living in right now, where the young people are so technocentric. Again, I'd like to know, are the young people of Sri Lanka the same? They are immersed in technology? Or are they the whole day in church praying? I mean, they're normal. Okay, that's a consolation for me. I'm talking to people who can relate. So, let me share with you my principles, which will explain the rest of the seminars that I will be giving the next few Saturdays. Number one, here's my principle. Every teacher really is an agent of character formation. The task of a teacher is not just to cover the curriculum. The task of the teachers is not just to help the students pass a quiz, pass a test, pass a subject. That's good, that's important, that's essential, but that is not everything. The truth is, you and I, as educators, we are raising these young people not just to be smart, but also to be good. Okay? If you accept that principle, then everything else I'm going to share will make sense. Today, we will talk a lot of principles, concepts, but next Saturday, the two seminars there, Urgency of Character Formation, Creating a Kind and Caring Classroom, and then the following Saturday after that, Developing Grit, Resilience, and Empathy, and then Classroom Management, are all hundreds of strategies that teachers can use inside the classroom to form character, mold minds. You see, I don't like the expression, what subject are you asked to teach this year? I prefer the students entrusted to your care teaching them subjects. So, a good educator is not just interested in covering the curriculum. A good educator is interested in forming character, molding minds, impacting lives. I know some of you decided to become educators precisely because you are driven by that desire to make a difference in the lives of people. So that's my first principle. Number two, character education is not just another subject. We decided to offer this session for administrators because first I need to get the administrators, principals, accept the idea that the seminars we have for the coming 2 Saturdays are not just for the values teachers, religion teachers, teachers of good manners and right conduct. In the Philippines, we have a subject like that, GMRC, good manners and right conduct. Okay, yes, but these seminars are for teachers teaching any subject because even the math teacher should be able to form character and mold minds. Even the social studies, history, language, English teachers, they all should be able to form the character of the students entrusted to their care. The success of a teacher is not just to be able to say at the end of the school year, I'm a good teacher. I finished the textbook. I'm a good teacher. I covered the curriculum. Good. That's essential. But that is not what it means to be a good educator. A good educator will be able to say at the end of the year, I'm a good teacher. I made an impact in the lives of my students. I made a difference in the lives of my students. That is a good teacher, regardless of what subject that has been assigned for him or her to teach. Number three, I already mentioned, education is not simply a covering of the curriculum. By the way, two things. Feel free to take pictures, take notes, or if you want the screenshot. But I will tell you later a Facebook page where if you go and join us, and some of you I think are already there, you can download the PowerPoint presentation. Okay? Number two, I am recording our session so that in case you fall asleep, in case you in case you want to go back to some very important points you heard today, you can watch the video or share it with your friend administrators in other schools who can benefit from it. I will also tell you where you can access the recording of the session today. Okay? So with that, you can now fall asleep. Here's another one. Okay, a very important principle I have. There is no other better way to teach character than through the power of our example. That's why I say even math teachers should teach character. Math teachers teach character in the way they come to class every single day punctually. Then they're teaching punctuality. In the way they control their temper, they don't shout, they don't scream, they don't yell. That's how they teach strength of character, patience, temperance, fortitude. That's a lot of character. And he is a math teacher, and yet he is teaching them through his example, kindness, professionalism. We teachers teach professionalism in the way we come inside the classroom every single day professionally. Administrators, some of you are thinking, how I wish this teacher in my school is here to hear this. He shouts, he screams, he yells. Send him to our sessions these next 2 Saturdays. I will talk about it again, especially in classroom management. The last session on November 26th, the title is Once and for All, You Can Solve the Discipline Problem. There are ways to get the students do what you want them to do without you ever having to shout, scream, or yell. Without the teacher even having to repeat, John, eyes on the board. Joanna, stop talking. Jerry, listen here. Face here. Without even having to say anything like that, you can get Jerry, John, Joanna, Gina to listen to you. How? I'm going to teach strategies from Dr. Harry Wong, the number one guru on classroom management in the world. So, no other better way to teach character than through the power of our example. So, here's an example I give. Teachers, tell your teachers, administrators, please, you have no right to get mad at the students for coming late for class, submitting projects late, and giving homework late. If you yourself, ma'am, sir, you're always late to come to class, late to submit your grades. I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to the teachers in the other schools. I know you are punctual, that's why you're here on time. The thing is, you cannot demand from your students something you first don't show by your example. Don't tell me to be kind. Show me kindness and I will learn it. Don't tell me to be punctual. Don't get mad at me for being late. Show me punctuality and I will learn it. There is no other better way to teach character than through the powerful example of our life. That's why teachers, administrators, I need you to realize the most important teaching tool inside the classroom is not the blackboard, it's not the laptop, it's not the computer, it's not the high-tech video projector, it's the teacher. You are the most important teaching tool inside the classroom. That's what I just emphasized. The teacher is the most important teaching tool. Even if your textbook is version 1982, I mean, even if you're still using Blackboard while other schools are using whiteboard, it doesn't matter. It's the teacher who will make learning happen. It's his manner, her way of managing the class that will make learning happen. More principles. This is the last. In the end, really, the school is only as good as its teachers. When students go back home to their parents over dinner, they talk about you. They talk about the teachers, good and bad. And then the parents conclude whether the school is good or bad based on what their kids tell them at home about us. So, if we are desperate for enrollment, better enrollment in our school, you better remind your teachers about this important thing. We are only as good as you. Therefore, please be the best teachers you can possibly be. In the end, our seminars today and in the next 2 more Saturdays are nothing else but an invitation to the teachers. Teachers, let us be the best teachers we can possibly be because the students need us. Because how the future is going to be depends on how you and I are preparing these young people now. If you are complaining about how society is right now, we need to go back to who taught these people when they were in basic education. Unfortunately, here's how it goes. If a table is broken, it's very easy to say, send that back to the carpenter. Send that back to the maker. If a person grows up to be dishonest, we cannot say, who's the teacher of this guy in grade 5? Send him back to grade 5 where he is supposed to have learned honesty, uprightness, truthfulness, sincerity. We cannot. Teachers, here's a very important message to give to all your fellow teachers. We have one chance only to make a difference in the lives of our students. We are given this school year. We may not have them again inside our classrooms. They will move on to the next level, and that's about it. But if you are the best teacher you can possibly be, that 1 year would be enough to make an impact, to leave a mark, and to really make sure this young person grows up to be smart and good. Not just smart, but especially good. You know what the pandemic showed us? The pandemic showed us that everything the young people need to learn now are already online. Everything. And some of them presented in a more exciting way, learning addition, subtraction, multiplication, to do games in the internet. They don't even need to go to your classroom anymore to learn. Everything is in the internet, is online. That's what the pandemic taught us. But here's something you need to understand. Internet cannot teach honesty, patriotism, love for God, faith, kindness. Internet, in fact, is full of unkindness. It's full of anger and hatred and um, put downs and attacks. That's one of the things we need to help the young people in. Make sense of this uh, connected world, wired world that they're living in. 75% of students stated that they looked up to teachers as mentors and role models. Truth is, some of you decided to become teachers because there was one teacher or another who inspired you, who made you want to become a teacher, who inspired you and you said, someday I'd like to be able to do that. Molding minds, forming people, leaving a mark, making a difference in the lives of people. 79% of students said that their teachers encouraged them to follow their dreams. And we've seen so many stories of this. Some of the videos I showed you earlier while waiting for the start of our session, very highly inspiring. And if there were teachers who moved these successful people to follow their dreams, then they owe it to their teachers. In short, as I already said, how the world will be in the future will depend on how we prepare these young people now. I decided to devote more of my time reaching out to teachers because I know your impact. The impact that you have, not just on one, not just on 20. In your classes, you would have how many? 30, 40 students, maybe even 50 in the Philippines. We have some classrooms with 100 students. And you are not just given one class to teach. You sometimes have 3, 4, or even 5 classes to handle, times the number of students. Our impact is so great. We have the capacity to really form the future of society. So then, I'd like to say thank you, teachers, for impacting the lives of so many people, for forming minds, molding character. So, if no one yet has thanked you enough for hanging on these past 3 years that we were thrown into the online setup, thank you for not quitting, for not giving up, for staying on. Uh, Last year, yeah, in the midst of the pandemic, we were in a worse situation in the Philippines. In fact, up to now, people are still required by government to be wearing masks all the time. We're in a worse situation there. Last year, a school in the Philippines called Philippine Science High School asked me to give a tribute to three teachers who decided to retire. It was an online tribute, and one of them was 60 years old, and she decided to quit because she said every time she would be in front of the class, in front of the computer to give an online class, she would have palpitations, shaking, uncontrollable shaking, hypertension. She said, this online thing is not for me. Even if I could stay 5 more years in teaching, I really have to give up. She had to quit. She had to give up. It was not for her. You didn't. Thank you for your service, for your commitment. That's why we say teaching is the greatest act of optimism. We didn't give up. I mean, we didn't say, well, it's not our fault that we cannot go inside the classroom. Let the students stagnate. Let them survive on their own. What can I do? No, we found ways of still making learning happen. And we have not been thanked enough for that. So that's why I say thank you in case you have not received that act of gratitude for your heroism. Once you master the art of facing a room full of teenagers and come out alive, you can do anything. Who are high school teachers here? Only one. Others are elementary school, grade 1 to grade 6. Is that okay? How about the others? Applicants? No. The others? College. Are there college teachers? Also. I hope this is still relevant for you. Okay. Because when I'm talking to college students, I feel like it's too late. No, I'm just kidding. When I talk to college students, I just have the feeling how I wish I was able to reach out to them earlier on, when it was still easier to form them. So then, this is the role of the teacher, agents of character formation, our topic this morning, because it's more than just a job, it's a mission. It's a calling, it's a vocation. Not everyone is cut out for teaching. I mean, there are some who tried. When I was principal of high school and we had to hire teachers, and some of them didn't even survive a quarter. They are not cut out for teaching because it requires a lot of empathy, a lot of qualities, a lot of virtues. Let's differentiate between mission and employment. If the teacher realizes that I am here to form character, mold minds, make a difference, impact lives, then that teacher will not see that work as simply a job, an employment. He or she will see it as a mission. I have a mission to make a difference in the lives of my students. More than just a job, it's a mission. I was sent to do this task. Teaching, mission, or job. If you are doing it only because you are paid for it, it's a job. Now, here's the reality. Here is the truth. Some teachers enter the profession because they need a salary. I mean, it's a reality. Now, what we are going to say is, there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay. Of course, we all need salary. Of course, we need to bring food to the table. Of course, we need to have employment. We need to earn. But our message this morning is, you are doing such an important job. You might as well take it as a mission more than just an employment. My dear administrators, if you can get your teachers, all your teachers in your school to have that mindset, I am here to make a difference in the lives of students, that will make a big difference in the way they do their work. They will go beyond the minimum. They will not just be counting hours. If you are doing it not only for the pay, but also for service, service to the families, service to the community, service to the country. I mean, some of the greatest heroes we've ever had in your country were thanks to their parents and their teachers who formed them, shaped them, molded them to be like that. Teachers, unsung heroes too many times. But we are responsible for creating those highly motivated, successful people. If you quit because your boss or colleague criticized you, that's just a job. If you keep on teaching out of love, it's a mission. Administrators, we need to make the teachers realize that if we correct them, if we give them corrections, it's because we still believe that they can still be better teachers. I was an administrator once. I remember reaching a point where the management say something like this: never mind, let's just make him finish the school year. We will not renew him. Some of you administrators may have heard that kind of line. You give up on a teacher for incorrigible habits, always late, many times absent, not responsible. And then the administration will decide, never mind, let's terminate him, let's just finish the school year, and let's not renew. But if the administration still believes in that person, the principal, the coordinator will continue correcting, reminding, and asking him, do your best to come punctually on time. That means it's still, there's still hope for that person. So when teachers are corrected, that's a very good sign. And teachers have to realize that if they are corrected by the principal or by the director of the school, that's a sign of hope. That's a sign that they still expect them to be better. If you teach because it does not interfere with your other activities, that's merely a job. But if you are committed to teaching, even if it means letting go of other activities, it's a mission. I know some of you teachers, some of you are correcting papers even on a weekend, computing for grades even on a Sunday. And that is not part of what the school is paying you for. I mean, there is no overtime work for that. But you do it because you see your job as a mission, because you want to return the papers on time, because you are responsible for the tasks, for the job that has been given to you by the school. That's a mission. Okay, so if at this point you have not been inspired yet about your role as educators, as agents of character formation, then let's drive home even more the point. We affect eternity. No one can tell where our influence stops. You've read this line before. Believe it or not, really, we are so influential among our students that they even copy our wrong grammar. We are so influential on the students. Sometimes students even copy the way we walk and the way we talk. You don't realize it sometimes, but they do copy. That's the influence we have on the students. And for all you know, we have students that we handled 10 years ago. And still, for them, they are what they are right now because of you. Let me give you an example. You have here in Sri Lanka alumni homecoming, for the ladies. You have that, where graduates of 10, 20 years ago come home to your school for a day of sports or fun or program. I attend alumni homecomings. I love alumni homecomings. And many times, you have a student coming to you, excited to see you, telling you, shaking your hands strongly with a big smile on their face, saying, "Sir, ma'am, thank you very much. I am who I am because of you." And then you're there. What's your name again? You don't remember them. You cannot even recognize their face, not much less the name. But they have not forgotten you because you have left a mark. You have made a difference. Now, let me tell you, they may not exactly say the same words, "I am who I am because of you." They will say it in other ways. They want to hug you. They cannot just shake hands, they want to hug you. They express excitement in coming home because some of them will come to the alumni homecoming and will ask around, "Is Mrs. So and so here? Is Mr. So and so still here?" Because they want to look for you and shake your hand, look you straight in the eyes and say, "I am who I am because of you. Thank you so much." I've experienced so many times like that. And after the exchanges of pleasantries, I ask, "What subject did I teach you in?" And the student will say, "I don't know, sir. I think you were not even my teacher. You were only moderator of our student council." They will not remember the subject you taught them, but they will remember how you made them feel inside the classroom. Okay? That is a very important point. I've not seen anyone coming to alumni homecoming telling the teacher, "Sir, thank you very much for teaching me factoring." No one ever said that. "Sir, thank you very much for teaching me subject-verb agreement." No one ever said that. But they will remember you for how you made them feel inside the classroom, motivated, inspired. That's why many times we teachers have to be conscious about inspiring our students. For all you know, that inspiration that you give them that day is what will get them, catapult them to become the best corporate president in the future, the best politician. Politics is not evil, by the way. It's evil people who make it so. So, please prepare young people today to be good politicians, public servants who will really serve for the common good. It's in our hands. Prepare your students today to be the future president, prime minister, and the MPs. Let's prepare them now. For all you know, you have inside your classroom some of those important people in the future. Now, I'll give you another example, a very powerful story in my years of teaching. Have you ever experienced having a student who is so hard-headed that when you enter the classroom and you see, "Oh, he's absent today. Thank you, God. It's going to be a great day today. This is exciting day." He is absent. Have you ever experienced okay, don't admit. I know deep inside you, you've had experience of just being so happy that one student or another who gets into your nerves is not in class today. I had a student like that, where if I tell him, "Jay, please sit down," Jay will look at me, third year high school, must have been 16 years old that time. Jay will look at me like angry. So many people here standing, I'm the only one you're going to tell to sit down. Like that, you've had students like that. You want to kill them, but you cannot. You cannot. So, but I realized, I noticed, Jay had leadership qualities. For example, if I tell the class, please bring newspapers, old newspapers for the newspaper campaign, okay? No one will bring. But if Jay stands up, hey guys, tomorrow newspapers, I'm gonna beat you up if you don't bring. Everybody would bring. We would win in the biggest newspaper collection in the school. We would get awards like that. So I decided to do a crazy thing. One of the things I did as a teacher was to put up clubs. I love clubs. They learn many things in student organizations, student clubs. They learn many things there that they will not learn in math, science, and English. So I decided to put up a club. JJ, come here. I told him one day, I decided to put up a club. It's called Organization for Student Empowerment. And I want you to be the president. Okay? And here's what we do. Choose 5 of your best friends in the class. It's an all boys school. Choose 5 of your best friends that you can work with. And then I know you have a house in that resort in Tagaytay. Tell your dad if we can borrow your house, we will have an overnight leadership organizational seminar. I'll give a talk on leadership, how to organize projects, and tell your dad, we also want to borrow your van. It's your house, so tell your dad, give us food also, okay? So that's what we did. That's what we did that weekend. He chose 5 of his best friends, and 7 of us, 5 his best friend, he himself, me, and then the driver. We went to their house in that resort. I gave them sessions on project management. We planned out activities for the rest of the year. And that was the first time in Southridge we had medical mission for the janitors, security guards, maintenance men, and their families. We had Christmas outreach for the street children. We visited an orphanage. We visited hospital for children with cancer patients. We did many things. And I am glad I did not give up on Jay, because the Jay I'm talking about went on to be governor of Quezon province in the Philippines. 3 terms, 9 years, and now he's on his second term as congressman. Here's the message. Believe me, inside your classroom today, there are some people there who are going to be someday powerful, influential, and maybe even president of Sri Lanka. How will you teach your class if you know in your class is the future president of the country? How will you teach? I'm sure you're not going to say, I better give more assignments. The president, the future president is here. I better give more drills. I better make them understand subject, verb, agreement. No, I know what you're going to do. Every day that you have the chance, you will talk about honesty, uprightness, integrity, goodness, kindness, concern for the poor, service, right? In other words, you will teach for character. If you know you are preparing the future president of the country, every single day you will make sure you will make a comment about being kind, being hardworking, being upright and honest. We're not talking political here. I mean, we're not attacking anyone. We are simply saying, you have it in your hands. We have it in our hands. The future of our country. Okay? This is a very important point. If teachers realize this, how powerful our influence is, we will not be mediocre. we will not be poor teachers. I mean, let's face it, we all were students for many years. We've had great teachers, brilliant teachers, and admit it, you also had some lousy teachers. And some images come to our mind of those lousy teachers coming in late, shouting, screaming, yelling, insulting, hurting, harming. I mean, we've had teachers like that in our life. But yes, we've also had that one who inspired us. I am who I am because of that teacher, because of the influence we have on them. Sometimes that's the only thing we teachers need, a bit of inspiration, a bit of motivation. Um, the reality is, on the third, fourth month of the school year, some teachers start getting burnt out. I don't know if it also happens here, but in the Philippines, as a principal, as a vice principal, I was very aware of it. And so on the third month of the school year, I have to do something to revive the inspiration, the motivation of the students. And sometimes it's just having a McDonald's lunch for the faculty together eating to celebrate the having survived the first 3 months, and then to remind them again, even if you don't see it, you are making a difference in the lives of your students. So administrators, do not underestimate the power of motivation, inspiration for your teachers, because sometimes that's the only thing we need to keep on going. Children are like what cement, whatever falls on them makes an impression, good or bad. Everything that we do inside the classroom. Okay, when I'm talking to teachers, I never fail to mention these three things. One of them I already mentioned earlier. When I mentioned teachers, you don't have the right to complain or to be angry at the student for being late if you yourself are late. Here's the second thing. Teachers, do not ever use foul language, bad words. Because when we do, our reputation plummets. And there goes the title of the talk, you're being an agent of character formation. We cannot anymore form effectively the character of our students when we resort to shouting, screaming, yelling, using profanity, bad words, foul language. And here's number three. We need the teachers to hear this. Teachers, do not ever criticize your school, your administrators, your principal, because your role in that particular school is to get the students identify themselves with a school's vision, mission, spirit. But if you are the first one attacking it, criticizing it, then you cannot anymore effectively get the students identify themselves with a school. But I tell the teachers, but don't worry, you can still be a great teacher in another school, but not that one that you criticize, not that one that you attack. We have to be very united with our school, with our administrator, with our school's mission, vision, and what it stands for. I mentioned this earlier about they don't care about, they don't remember. They will not remember the subject matter, but they will remember how you made them feel. I'm not a fan of teachers who are, they're arrogant because they're valedictorian graduate, they're summa cum laude graduate, and in fact, from my experience, many times, not many times, but sometimes, these geniuses, summa cum laude graduates, have a hard time making the students who are slower understand because they're so high up there. They don't care about your summa cum laude. They care about how much you care for them. Students don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. The test of a good teacher is not how many questions He or she can ask his pupils that they will answer readily. But how many questions he inspires them, she inspires them to ask him or her, which he or she finds it hard to answer. That word is going to come out again and again throughout these 3 Saturday seminars. Inspiring, motivating, uplifting. Because this is one of the most important tasks of an agent of character formation. Especially so because the young people today are growing up in a kind of dark world. I mean, look at the newspapers. It's all about the Ukraine war, the Russia war. It's all about corruption. It's all about the criminality. The young people are affected by this. And then, to make things worse, they are given computer games where the more you kill, the more points you get, the higher level you go. Violence. And then the television shows, Netflix, movies that are full of violence. When I was younger, these things were not very common. But today, your grade 2 student can wake up at 2 a.m. and there are still dozens of channels, cable channels to choose from. No, more than 1 billion videos in YouTube to choose from. No, more than 1 billion videos in TikTok to watch. I will talk more about TikTok when we get into the urgency of character formation. So, teach for character, be agents of character formation, not just teachers who cover the curriculum. Because teaching kids to count is fine, but teaching them what counts, that is best. And what counts? That they grow up to be good, upright. Not just intelligent. As I said, they can be intelligent with so many materials available online already for free many times. They're there already. But the internet cannot teach them what really counts. Honesty, uprightness, kindness, goodness. I'm sure you've come across this quotation. And I mentioned already, the seminar today and the next 2 Saturdays are nothing else but an invitation. Let's not be mediocre, not even just great. Not even just superior, not even just good, but really great teachers who inspire, who really make a difference in the lives of our students. And such is the nobility of our profession. We are not just teacher of math, science, or English. I'm sure you've heard this expression, I teach life. Some teachers, those who have been like me, decades inside the classroom, we prefer to put it that way. I don't just teach math, science, English, Filipino language. I teach life. I prepare these young people to be successful in life. I make them pass the test of life. That's what I do. Especially now when we hear of, I don't know if it is also happening here in Sri Lanka, but in the Philippines, we are now coping with a problem on teenage depression. Do we also have here? Teenagers getting depressed. Why will you get depressed? When I was a teenager, I just ran around the streets playing games, climbing trees, and enjoying life. Today, you hear of teenagers getting depressed and even committing suicide or contemplating suicide. What is happening? Well, the digital lifestyle is bringing about all these things. That's why seminar number 3, developing grit, resilience, and empathy. 3 essential virtues for the digital generation. One of them is grit, another is resilience. Stop being depressed. The world needs you. Why are you the boyfriend, the girlfriend just broke up with the person and then she wants to commit suicide? There are billions of boys out there. Why are you going to commit suicide? Wait. You haven't met your soulmate yet. Don't think of committing. But that is happening. It's happening everywhere. We need to help them. Okay, now here's a very important point. I should have mentioned it earlier when I was talking about J. You have students who come inside your classroom, especially for basic ed, kinder, grade 1, grade 2, primary school. Students who come inside your classroom acting like a spoiled brat. You remember the phrase spoiled brat? Because today we're not allowed to use it like it's politically incorrect. Well, you know what I'm talking about, spoiled kids. Um, Here's the message. Teachers, if you happen to have a kid coming inside your classroom acting like a spoiled kid, don't get mad at the kid. Don't get angry. He or she is the victim here of the environment. He or she is the victim here of the generational trait. He or she needs our help. Every student comes inside the classroom with an unlit candle. And really, what they want to say is, Ma'am, sir, please light my candle. I don't want to be in the dark anymore. And many of them are living in such dark times in their life with what you hear of many times, parents separating. I had a student who one day was abandoned by the father, who one day the mother just disappeared. I mean, um, before you get angry at that student sleeping in your class, find out he or she is sleeping because until 3 a.m., the mother and father were screaming at each other, fighting. That's why he's very sleepy. In other words, every single one of them has a story to tell. Let's find out. Now, I know many of you also have stories to tell. I know some of you sometimes at home, you look at your bills that need to be paid, electricity, water, internet, telephone, and you don't know where to get them. And then you go inside the classroom performing like as if there is no problem. I know you. Sometimes you're like that. Liars. No, not liars. I mean, sometimes we are like that. We don't bring our problem inside the classroom. We teach to the best that we can. We perform even trying to be motivating and inspiring to our students, even if at the back of our mind, I need to pay the bills. That's why a teacher without the sense of heroism, sense of sacrifice, will not survive the profession for long. And if you have been in the teaching profession for more than 10 years, 20 years, congratulations, you are a unique human being, exemplary for your heroism, life of sacrifice, self-giving, especially I think it's the same in Sri Lanka as in the Philippines, teachers are not paid enough. I mean, this is the reality. We are paid way lower than the IT experts. They seem to pay more, the bankers. They seem to, but wait, we are doing even more important work than the accountant, that's the reality of life. So if you stay long in the profession, that means you have what it takes to be a man or woman of sacrifice. So this is what we do when we form character, when we mold minds. Okay, I realize it's a good thing. In the next 4 seminars, these next 2 Saturdays, we will have a break in the middle, okay? Because it's not very easy to be listening for 1.5 hours. So we will have 45 minutes and then a break and then the remaining time for the session. And in the next 2 Saturday sessions, so the snacks will be served right in the middle. It's only today when we decided we'll have the snack served at the end. While some are claiming their certificates, some of you can be taking your snacks or um, having your photos taken in the backdrop of the professional teacher's slides. Okay, so then it's 10:39. I have around 20 minutes left. Let's talk about the sense of service, turning employment into a mission, because otherwise it's just a job, an employment, a source of livelihood. This is what we teachers are. When somebody asks you, what's your job? Don't say, I'm only a teacher. Of course not. I am engaged in the business of enhancing lives. How about you? What's your job? That should be our answer if somebody asks us, what do you do? What's your job? I am engaged in the business of enhancing lives. I mean, not too many professions are able to do that business of enhancing lives. That's why, as a general rule, we teach more by what we are than by what we say. You are the most important teaching tool inside the classroom. We are the most important teaching tool. Okay, very beautiful, no? And that's for all of you. I don't know if you see it, but we're exaggerating the thank you and thank you very much for all your hard work. But really, that's what we teachers need to hear as an encouragement, as an inspiration to keep on going. Here are 9 reasons to get into teaching and why, therefore, the teaching is such a noble profession and why we, therefore, should not be mediocre and why, therefore, we have to be great ones, impacting lives, molding character, forming young people. Number 1, we are in the business capable of inspiring the next generation. I mean, think about it. Who else is in a position to be able to do that? Parents, okay, preachers. Then, I don't think bankers can inspire the accountants. I am not sure if they really, but teachers, every single day that we are inside the classroom with our students, we are capable of inspiring the next generation engaged in the business of enhancing lives. So it's a real true calling. It's a real true vocation because not everyone is cut out for it. Who's calling? I mean, if it's a vocation, it's a calling. But who's calling? The parents are calling. God is calling. Society is calling. The world is like, if the world can speak as a one voice, it should be saying now, teachers, please help. Teach these young people to take care of the climate, to take care of the environment. Please help these people not to start wars. Please help these young people to take care of each other and not to kill each other. I mean, if the world can speak, it is calling you to help. Number 3, some of us decided to become teachers because we were so passionate about the course that we took up in college and that we want to share it, our expertise with the students. It's a clear career path, which does not mean that a teacher has to aspire to be a principal. Teachers can also simply aspire to be a master teacher. Have you experienced observing a master teacher, a rowdy class, and then a master teacher comes in and without saying any word, everybody starts keeping quiet? How does he do that? An inefficient amateur teacher will enter the classroom and shout and scream. And since the students are very noisy, he has to shout more loudly. He has to raise his voice more. No strategy, no mastery, no technique in being able to manage the class. The clear career path there is not about having a position. It's about more and more being able to teach effectively like a master teacher. Okay, let's face it, it still pays. I mean, especially now when many people lost jobs during this pandemic. We continue teaching, even online, and that's still, I mean, it's still work. It's still paid. Number six, now we realize we are living in a global village. You can actually be giving a class to somebody in the other side of the world. There are now more international opportunities. Job security, the school cannot also just say today, you're fired today. Wait, I have to finish the school year. I have a class to take care of. I have been entrusted with students to take care of. Great for families. And in fact, the thank you that we hear earlier, the good job, those the messages really are coming from the families of the students that you have been taking care of, even in spite of the lockdown, even in spite of the online setup that we found ourselves in. And then, the teaching profession is one profession that helps you to be a lifelong learner, because we cannot just be a chapter ahead of our students. We have to keep on learning new ways of doing things, more effective ways of doing things, so that we are able to handle even a problematic student like this. Okay, then that's just a picture. A teacher is a flame that lights the path of a child. And as I said, every single one of them comes inside our classroom with an unlit candle telling us, "Ma'am, sir, please light my candle. I don't want to be in the dark anymore." And here's, or did I skip number 10? A teacher is a special friend whose love and kindness never ends. Let me now emphasize something about friends. We need to remind teachers this. Teachers, you are not meant to be simply friends with your students. I've seen this tragically happen. Young teachers, new in the profession, trying too hard to be liked by the students, trying to be popular. It looks like they're running for a popularity contest, trying to be the most popular teacher in campus. We need to remind these teachers, you are not meant to be friends with your students. You are meant to be a role model to the students. They don't need any more friends. Look at their Facebook. They have hundreds of friends in Instagram, in Twitter, in TikTok. They have many followers already. You're meant to be a role model. Someone they will look up to and they will say, when I grow up, I like to be like that. That is what you teachers are meant to be. Stop trying too hard to be liked and to be popular. Teaching is a profession that teaches all the other professions. From your class will come the future doctors, lawyers, politicians, accountants, bankers, and yes, also teachers. Some great mothers raising a good family from our profession come other professions. And we don't just impact for a year, we impact for a lifetime. You see, even if they're only inside our classroom for 10 months, our influence on them can last to the end of their life. And you and I know that. We look back to some teachers whom we say, it is from that teacher I really learned what it means to aspire for greatness, to aspire for service. Example isn't another way to teach, it's the only way to teach. Teaching for character, that is. The only effective way to teach character is to do the example of our life. So, even if you were thrown into the online setup, you realize the fact that we did not give up teaching in the online setup, and even if you were teaching poorly, I have to remind teachers this. Some of us think we were not as good teachers in the online setup as when we were inside the classroom. Of course, because that's not what you were prepared to do. We were not prepared to teach online. But do you realize that by continuing to teach, because we were forced to do it online. We were teaching them these things without even you deliberately doing it, without you even having to say it. The students learned from you in the online setup. Wow, my teacher is really dedicated. He cannot even control Zoom. And he's always muted like that, no? But his dedication, there is dedication. He's loyal. There's real commitment. There's attempt at professionalism. There's perseverance. There's resilience. There's grit, honor, toughness, and love. You realize we taught the students all these when we were doing online teaching without you even realizing we were actually forming them in these things. I'm in the last minutes. So our tasks as parents and teachers to develop our children's capacity for goodness, curb their capacity for cruelty, and foster the courage to come to the aid of those who are mistreated. That's why one of the subjects, one of the topics we have, I think for next week, is creating a kind and caring classroom. I don't know if you've already come to admit it, but we are living in a very cruel world. When you go online, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube videos, video games, that is full of hatred, anger, violence. We need to drown evil in an abundance of kindness, goodness, respect, responsibility. That's a very important thing we are doing. And you can do it even while teaching English, science, math, literature, whatever subject we are given to handle. And then foster the courage to come to the aid of those who are mistreated, the kind and caring classroom that I mentioned to you. So, therefore, if you are going to be agents of character formation, please help your teachers examine themselves. Look into the inventory, their teacher as model self-inventory. Like we should be able to ask questions like this. Do I warmly greet each student? Next week, when I talk about urgency of character formation, strategies, lots of strategies. And one of the strategies I will teach is from Dr. Hal Urban on welcoming the students inside the classroom. I'll talk about that. Do I seek other opportunities to connect with each student? In that session, we will also mention about the only, for education to be effective, it has to be personal. That the students are not merely class numbers for us. It's personal. Every single one of them is a human being, a thinking, feeling human being inside our classroom. Am I well prepared for class? On time? Because that's the only effective way to teach professionalism, excellence, hard work. Do I model patience and courtesy even under stress? We talk about when you meet your student along the corridor, we expect them to greet good morning, good afternoon. And some teachers will wait. And then if the student does not greet, he will correct. Well, let's correct that. We are the adults. We be the first ones to greet them. Good morning, good afternoon. But ma'am, you just came from the classroom. Regardless, you are not just greeting per se. You are teaching that kid, that student about respect and courtesy. When we talk about schools of character, I visit many schools around the Philippines. 10 minutes inside the campus and I can tell if the school is a school of character when the students know how to greet, to be courteous, to be kind. I wonder what I will see when I visit your school. Will I see students knowing how to be courteous and kind and welcoming? We ask these things because we should be modeling this, teaching this to our students. Sorry, the last one there. Do I treat all my students impartially? And do I challenge all of them to their best work? Bottom line, When you take care of character, academic achievement will follow. When you attend to character, when you make character formation a top priority, academic achievement will follow because then they will develop hard work, industriousness, excellence. But if you concentrate on academics, that will not necessarily bring about good character. I know some schools where they emphasize academics, grades, so much that the students are resorting to cheating to make it to the top, to be the number one, to be um, summa cum laude or valedictorian. It's absurd. It defeats the purpose. And besides, we know some people who may be good in math, good in English, good in science, but they are using their talent to cheat, to put one over other people, to be dishonest. What's the point? So, concentrate on character, academic achievement will follow.